Welcome back to Whence Came You, a Masonic podcast featuring research papers and discussions related to Freemasonry. Here's your host, Brother Robert Johnson.
All right, this is episode 327. This week I have got a multitude of short little pieces, excerpts, a paper, and this is largely due to my inability to get you the information when I wanted to. I have a stack of paperwork sitting next to my recording station here and just little tidbits that I wanted to bring up here and there, and I ended up with so much over so much time. I just figured I would bombard the program with tidbits and small pieces this week and clear them out and get the information to you. So just a couple things I wanted to bring up right at the top of the program was that there's been a lot of people who really enjoyed the little video I did on my edition of Manly P. Hall's Secret Teachings of All Ages, University Edition, which I picked up from an estate sale. Now, this book is wonderful. If you have time, and if you're looking to pick up an edition, there's a great, pristine edition, the Jubilee edition of it, also University Edition, I believe, is being sold by John Bridegroom, who is the Mason and brother behind the Master's Craft. So if you have a desire to pick up this particular edition of the book, feel free to. You're going to have to either email them from on the Master's Craft through the website there, themasterscraft.net, or if you're friends with him on Facebook, shoot him a message and let him know you're interested in that book. And I know he is selling it, and I think it's a really great edition and a wonderful opportunity for the brother out there who's looking to get a really nice book. Secondly, speaking of books, I recently started, I'll say perusing, so intimately examining a text called Ghostland, or Researches into the Mysteries of Occultism by Emma Harding Britton. It's a good book. Just wanted to let you guys know if you wanted to pick it up. I think Kessinger has it out there, and they do a reprint, a facsimile reprint. Not a small volume, probably a standard, maybe like a 9 by 11 size book that's about an inch thick. So pretty good book, some decent stuff in there. It's heavily written in a narrative style, so be ready for that. So check that out if you're interested. I feel a bit like a Masonic secretary going through papers on my desk as I figure out what I wanted to tell you guys about and what I had failed to talk to you about. But one thing that I did want to read for you comes out of the January-February 2018 Scottish Rite Journal, which is the Southern Jurisdiction of the United States of America's publication. Now, here's what I really want. I mean, I rarely take the time to read on the show anything that has to do with the Grand Commander's message. However, this January-February edition had a wonderful message from the Grand Commander, and it really leads into a great announcement for education as far as Scottish Rite goes, and it's the new Master Craftsman. So I'm going to read just Mastering the Craft, a short article here by Grand Commander, and also the bit on Masonic education. Grand Commander actually references something in the new Master Craftsman article, so this way you understand what's going on. Grand Commander's message, Mastering the Craft. So let's take a few moments to consider the Southern Jurisdiction's Master Craftsman continuing Masonic educational opportunities and what they might have to offer you. In the United States, at least, most Master Masons are exposed to the Scottish Rite degrees as candidates and in the context of a weekend reunion at their local valley. This is unlike the European model, where a candidate moves much more slowly than here, often taking many years to advance through the degrees. Only after months or years of study and reflection is the candidate ready for advancement, and then subject to election to the next higher degree level. In America, however, the process is shortened considerably, with the candidate progressing through the entire system and arriving at the 32nd degree usually in the course of a weekend experience. Moreover, for many decades now, the Southern Jurisdiction has permitted its novitiates to attain the 32nd degree, our terminal point in the initiatory process, after just seeing 5 degrees, commonly, but unfortunately designated the mandatory degrees. This somehow implies that the other 24 degrees are of lesser importance and are therefore subjected to being bypassed in order to rush to the 32nd at the end of the day. To be sure, there is a requirement that the passed over degrees are to be communicated, which all too often results in a well-meaning brother reading an explanation of the degree from a written page to a class of candidates, who often have little connection with what is being said or described. It's sort of like reading about the sunrise as opposed to looking out the window. which makes the memory. So I would submit that even under the best circumstances, the candidate is designated a master of the royal secret after having received only an introduction to the depths of wisdom and philosophy to be plumbed from the lessons, philosophies, and degrees of the Scottish Rite. Recognizing this limitation, a common theme in our degree instruction is the admonition to further study, reading, contemplation, and reflection, and most of all, to the application of what we have learned to our daily existence. The Supreme Council's Master Craftsman Study courses, initially conceived in 2008, are in a response to the musing of a candidate as he leaves his reunion. He has seen so much, heard so much, participated in so much, and possibly has been given so much that it becomes difficult to sort it all out, and essentially get it organized in his mind. We tell him to study, but how? The Master Craftsman Correspondence courses are self-guided efforts designated to aid in that work. With directed readings at 3 levels of difficulty, the courses provide a further insight to the degrees and supplement the reunion initiatory experience. Many progressive valleys provide new candidates with the first lesson of the first level Master Craftsman course upon departing the reunion. If that was your experience, consider yourself most fortunate. Others extend an invitation to ongoing classes or study groups to work through the Master Craftsman lessons together. Again, kudos to those valleys who take this extra step, but some of us have not had that opportunity and wish to explore the Master Craftsman experience. At the Supreme Council headquarters, we have an outstanding employee who coordinates our Master Craftsman program, Miss Linda Johnson, who can be reached at 202-777-3110 or ljohnson@scottishrite.org. If you contact Linda, tell her I sent you. She will get you started without delay. It's a correspondence course. Receive the first lesson, complete, and mail it back to the office. Receive the next one, and on it goes until completion. This is not school. No one fails or receives a quote-unquote bad grade. Grade point averages don't count here. Your corrected and returned paper is for your own edification as you begin the next installment. By the way, I have been urged to put the whole affair online, so someone could sit down at the computer and progress rapidly and without delay. Instant answer, instant result, speedy progression forward, no time lost. Nope. A Grand Commander of many years ago admonished us to, quote-unquote, think if you can think. Pause, reflect, study, consider. That is the mission here, not to cross the finish line in record time. I have requested that Linda place the reading list for all the lessons on our website so a participant can get started with the readings while waiting for the next lesson to arrive in the mail. Speeding it up beyond that is something that I'm not willing to do. I hope you will take advantage of this effort to deepen your Scottish Rite experience, whether a new candidate trying to become acclimated with the depth of material presented or an old-timer in need of a refresher. Work at your own speed. Get to know Linda and the Master Craftsman staff here and enjoy the experience. As Proverbs instructs, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. Proverbs 4:7. Ronald A. Seal, 33rd degree, Grand Commander, Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, United States of America. So there you have a really interesting piece that Ronald penned, and I really appreciate his dedication there to understanding that the mission isn't about time and time savings. It's about actual reflection. We have to take time to understand this stuff, and it's not instantaneous by any means. It's not get it all now and understand it later, because as we all know, that doesn't work. It's just like Netflix. You've been waiting for a movie, it finally comes out on Netflix, you add it to your queue and you never watch it. Why? Because it's already there. It's waiting for you. You know it's already there. There has to be an element of exclusivity, in my opinion, for you to get it done and understand it and reflect on it before moving forward. Now, the very next page goes into this new Master Craftsman. So this is by Stuart Poole, 32nd degree. He's assistant to the Director of History and Heritage and Education. This past August at the biennial session, Sovereign Grand Commander Seal released the new addition to the Master Craftsman Education Program. However, this edition is different from the previous format. With the current programs, you complete a number of quizzes. The numbers vary from course to course, and you mail them in to receive a certificate and pin. The new program, however, is a set of PowerPoint presentations on each of the 29 degrees of the Scottish Rite, which have been preloaded onto a USB flash drive. Before explaining the reason for this change in format, let us take a look at what each of our current course examines. 1. Master Craftsman, Symbolic Lodge. This is a 7-quiz course which explores aspects of development of Blue Lodge Masonry, as well as some of the developing symbolism. The course uses Albert Pike's Esoterica and the Scottish Rite Ritual and Monitor Guide, 3rd edition, by illustrious brother Arturo de Hoyos, as resources. Number 2. Master Craftsman, History and Ritual. This course dives into the history of the Scottish Rite and our rituals. Using illustrious de Hoyos' Scottish Rite Ritual and Monitor Guide, 3rd edition, the 6 quizzes of this program will take the reader throughout the 29 degrees and honors. Number 3. Master Craftsman Philosophy. This course is very in-depth and uses Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma, annotated edition by illustrious de Hoyos, and returns to the ritual of the Scottish Rite to re-explore it on a deeper level by looking for the moral lesson imparted in each degree and then applying that lesson to one's everyday life. The course consists of 33 quizzes grouped into 10 sections. These quiz format courses, though they can be, and often are, done in groups, are meant to improve the individual's understanding of the organization's rituals and history. It is for this reason that, under the guidance of the Supreme Council of 33rd Degree, we created Master Craftsman Group Studies. We wanted a program that engages a group in discussion about the degrees and their lessons. Each presentation has slides posing questions to engage the membership to think about what they have seen and heard in the degrees of the reunions that they have attended. At the end of each presentation is an open-ended question meant to encourage the members to discuss, and this program was designed to be used in several different ways. So, individuals may purchase the program on an individual level to improve their knowledge as well as start discussion groups among their fellow Scottish Rite brothers. The Valley Education Officer or any member may use it to supply the educational program for their monthly Valley meeting, and the Valley can use it to communicate the degrees during their reunions. When loaded, the USB will show up on your computer as MCGS Program. For more, you can visit https://scottishrite.org/members/masonic-education/SRMC or contact us at mastercraftsman@scottishrite.org. The USB has been supplied to all Southern Jurisdiction Valleys and is available for individual purchase at the House of the Temple or on our website at scottishrite.org. It is $20 before taxes and shipping, and we invite and encourage all our members to pick up yours today. So, a really kind of cool program. It doesn't seem like they've reorganized anything. It's just an additional supplement that they've brought forward in order to facilitate group discussions, as many of these Scottish Rite programs are in fact being done in study groups and individual lodges. I could see a real benefit in providing the Master Craftsman 1 program, Esoterica, the one based on the Blue Lodge degrees, being done in a Blue Lodge setting, say perhaps a group discussion, on an off night, or maybe even after the meeting, you can hang around with your brothers and start a study group, or go down to the local coffee shop or something. Have something fun to do. When I was in college, it was a really big thing. It was part of the culture of college, I think, is to kind of gather in study groups and go grab coffee and hang out and joke, and it really formed a bond with me and my fellow classmates. And I think this is something similar. It could bring back something that's missing from everyday life, and the consistency, the constant learning that we all have will provide an extra social outlet. So this is something I'm considering, but we should also be aware that I would like to let everybody know these Esoterica, the Scottish Rite Master Craftsman 1 program, does differ slightly than the ritual you are used to. So be aware that the 3rd degree, as it stands in the United States, outside of those few lodges that practice the Scottish Rite degrees, it will be different for you, because the allegory is slightly different in the 3rd degree, because it's the Scottish Rite ritual. This is what I've been told, and I believe what Brother Mike Hambrecht has relayed to me on a few occasions. So just be aware of that. But largely, it is the same. There's just some key little differences. But overall, tons of symbolism. So this is something I want to look into going forward, maybe after October this year, when I will have a little bit more time on my hands. So thanks for checking that stuff out with me. Join me in congratulating the Scottish Rite Southern Jurisdiction on another win for Masonic education. If you enjoyed the Grand Commander's message, I'd encourage you to send him a letter or an email or something and thanking him for his dedication and making sure that we're not speeding through the reflection and education process. Speaking of education processes, I'm really excited. We should be hearing some news here about the Northern Jurisdiction's educational programming soon. If if not already. I'm really excited to get started with that as well, especially since it's a free program to the brothers. There's no real reason not to get started with it, and can't wait. So if you're going to be participating in that, feel free to share your feedback. Send me an email, let me know how it goes. I'd love to let everybody know if we're all enjoying it, and I think we will. So I've got a stack here again of papers, and one of them, there's a lot of what we call MSA notes, which come with the Masonic Short Talk bulletins. And in many of these, there are these little excerpts which I think are really interesting pieces, and I'd just like to read a few of them. The first is called Looking for 7 Wonders of the Masonic World, but it has a question mark, so perhaps looking for the 7 wonders of the Masonic world? On our website, www.freemasoninformation.com, there is an explanation of the 7 blunders of the Masonic world. That's right, blunders. Number 1, ritual without meaning. Number 2, fellowship without frivolity. Number 3, quantity without quality. 4, education without philosophy. 5, charity without connection. 6, frugality without discretion. And 7, leadership without competence. A new book, The Masonic Tour Guide, Volume 1, Wonders of the Merriment by Daniel D. Hantula, was received in the Scottish Rite Journal. Brother Hantula wants to help produce future volumes. In this introduction, he asks for submissions of elaborate lodge settings, Masonic landmarks, unique Masonic degrees, legendary Masonic monuments, and even unique Masonic cemeteries. Submissions can be sent to him at danielDhantula@gmail.com. That's DanielDhantula@gmail.com. It would be a great way to include your lodges or state's special buildings, places, or events. This book starts a discussion of what are the 7 wonders of the Masonic world. Just as there are 7 modern and ancient wonders of the world, one would be hard-pressed to limit their own Masonic choices to 7. Certainly, the George Washington Masonic National Memorial and the Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania building in Philadelphia are at the top of most everyone's list. MSA Notes would like to hear your list of the 7 Masonic wonders. List them on the Masonic Services Association's Facebook group site. Remember, you have to first ask to be a member of the group in order to post. I have not done this yet. It is something I'm going to do. I'm going to head on over to that Facebook group, and I'm going to list what I consider my 7 Masonic wonders of the world according to me. So maybe next week we can reveal what some of these lists have been. I will certainly tell you what my list will be next week, but perhaps I'll get in contact with the group admin and see if we can share just a few of these, just a few of your responses on the show. So if you're listening and you've provided this, shoot me a message telling me it's okay, and if you've posted them there, I'll ask them, we'll connect all the dots and make sure we've crossed our T's and dotted our I's, as it were. The next edition of MSA Notes had a short 2 paragraphs that I thought were interesting called Masonic Protocol for Speaking in Lodge. Now, this is huge, guys. There are real protocols that we really should follow in Lodge, and I understand that lodges at times get very relaxed and we all know each other, and there's been some lack in protocol, but we need to understand, like, where does it stop? And I understand there is the logical fallacy here that I may be applying of a slippery slope, but let's read on and see what they say. Masonic Protocol for Speaking in Lodge. Montana's Grand Master Lewis Smith discusses Masonic Protocol for Speaking in Lodge in the December issue of Montana Freemason. His topics include the Worshipful Master is in charge of the lodge, when and how often do you speak in lodge, why is this system in place, and how does it impact us as Masons to follow this protocol. It is a good discussion for young Masons who may have never been taught those concepts, as well for the elder Mason who may have forgotten them. He closes with a quote from Admiral Hyman J. Rickover, father of the nuclear navy. Quote, great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, small minds discuss people, end quote. So you can look for that article out there, and I will try to link back to it in the show notes. But what is your protocol for talking in lodge? Do you require brothers to stand, ask the master if he may speak? Does he give the do-guard and sign before he talks? Does he have to be acknowledged? Is your brother allowed to just willy-nilly address another brother in the lodge? Or does all the conversation have to be directed through the worshipful master? There's a bunch of interesting protocols when you're speaking to your lodge. Let us know what you do in your jurisdiction. Just drop a line on the Facebook page as well. The next piece I have is another one from MSA Notes, and it's a short article, and I wanted to read it to you in full. It's from July of 2017, and it is entitled The Millennial Mindset, Reaching the Millennials. Now, this is a interesting topic. There has been both division and there's been arguments regarding this. I used to consider myself a millennial, having been born in 1981. However, I understand that these have been really pushed around. The dates have changed completely, and I may be something of a mix between millennial and Generation X, or maybe even just Gen X. I'm not sure. My own stance on that is I think that these kind of labels should really be more applied to socioeconomic status rather than the year you were born, because it really does depend on how you grew up. There are many people who grew up in a way that would not be considered millennial, and there are people who grew up in ways that would be considered millennial. But in any case, here we go. MSA notes the millennial mindset, reaching the millennials. For several years, there has been a lot of discussion about younger Masons, what they want, and what the millennial generation, those born between 1980 and 2000, means to Freemasonry. For those Freemasons who have been members for many years, this is a difficult issue to understand. Millennials' values are different and, at times, extremely vexing to older brothers who don't understand those differences. At the recent conference of the Masonic Services and Communications Association, MCSA, in Louisville, Kentucky, a small booklet provided a condensed analysis about the millennial mindset by Cara Stiletto of Crescendo Strategies, crescendostrategies.com. While the booklet focused on business practices to deal with the millennial generation, it also has profound insight that is meaningful for the Masonic fraternity. By 2020, millennials in the workforce will outnumber the baby boomer generation, 1946 to 1964, and the Gen X, 1965 to 1979 combined. They will comprise 75% of the workforce and exert enormous influence on work habits, job turnover, and expectations. Framed in Masonic terms, the millennial generation will have their own views on how Freemasonry fits into their lives, how they affect regular officer progression, and how they will impact what goes on in a lodge meeting. The booklet explained a challenge using the word TABLE, T-A-B-L-E, technology, authority, balance, loyalty, and entitlement. It gives examples of how each subject may be a source of conflict and how those conflicts can be avoided or dealt with when they do occur. The principal lesson it tries to teach is that an understanding of each side of a disagreement. Technology is vastly different for millennials than most Masons realize. The cell phone is such a part of their life that they might think nothing of pulling it out during a meeting, just as they might not have dealt with vinyl record for music or even a cassette. Our relationship with technology have begun to mirror our comfort level regarding change. Shelf life for technology is shortening and making longevity relative. 5 years is more like a lifetime in a millennial's mind. Millennials are used to change and accept it, while older Masons may be resistant to doing something different or doing it in a different way. Authority is often questioned by millennials. They were given a voice at a very early age and not told to sit down and keep quiet. Quote, respect might not come immediately, and it certainly won't be based on authority. End quote. Is respect demanded by someone's position or even age? To a millennial, respect takes a lot more than that, and it must be earned. While millennials might appear to be quote-unquote goofing off during the lodge, they probably have integrated Masonry into their lives more than they are given credit for. To them, there is no need to quote-unquote balance work and relaxation time. If Freemasonry is a quote-unquote way of life, millennials may better understand how to practice it in a real way. Millennials value authenticity and being who we are all the time, whether at work or play. Loyalty is an experience many millennials have never known. Divorce peaked in the 1980s. They have seen how their parents' loyalty went unappreciated at their job. If their lodge meetings are boring, they're gone. If they don't like a clique of brothers, they're gone. If they don't get what they expect out of Masonry, they're gone. It's little wonder that recent survey of one of the Grand Lodges showed the most frequent Masonic life of a new Mason was 3 years. Loyalty is gained by how one is treated, and not if it is demanded. Most of the millennial generation feel they are entitled to more than they have earned. It may have been how they were raised, that everything came too easy, or their parents over-provided to make up for what they themselves had gone without. If Masonry teaches anything, it teaches patience. Patience and tolerance are new lessons for young millennials. They may need someone to vent their impatience and intolerance. This is where mentoring is so important. In his closing message, Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Indiana, Most Worshipful Carrie B. Carter, had some cogent comments about the millennial generation. They collaborate well with members. The millennials consider participation with their communities an essential element of citizens' duty, and they seek to make a difference in the world, work well on teams, value guidance, value education, and integrity, have already distinguished themselves as a generation that gets along well with others, especially their elders. This generation will be a game changer for us if we can find an acceptable method of blending their devotion to technology with old school Freemasonry. These days, most every organization is one generation from failure, and we are no different. All right, so I think that was an interesting piece, and I think there was a lot of truth to it. I'm really not that sure. I mean, by that paper's standards, the 1980 to 2000 is a really wide arena for the millennial. I barely make it in at 1981 according to that paper. However, if I am a millennial, I really don't feel I have any sort of entitlement issues. I understand I must work for what I have. And I think that's probably true for most folks. I'm not sure that that's a valid argument, but that's just my 2 cents. I know I'm not alone there. Common misconception by many. I know Nick Johnson, the Millennial Freemason, will have something certain to say about that. All right, I just wanted to take a quick break and let everybody know how much I do appreciate everybody out there who has gone to our website, wcypodcast.com, and supported our show, whether it's through making a direct donation or signing up for a monthly contribution. Do really appreciate that. If you're somebody who would like to get a little pin or something like that to show your appreciation of the show, or to show the show off to your friends, or let everybody know what you're listening to, I'd encourage you to head on over to wcypodcast.com, click on Limited Edition Shop, and check out any number of our items. We do have our limited edition lapel pin, exclusively made by Edgar Alejandro of Masonic Revival. It's high quality, solid brass, 24 karat gold plated, hard fired, colored enamel. It's got a really strong butterfly clasp, so it's not going to pop off or anything. All sales will be used to help us meet our funding goals, which allow us to bring you more Masonic content. That more Masonic content I'll talk about in just a minute, but a note about the design. We have a huge amount of symbolism within the pin. I don't want to take up too much time on this podcast to tell you everything, but suffice to say, go to the website, click on the limited edition store, and check out the list of the symbols that we have contained within. The design comes in not just a pin, we also have cufflinks, money clips, and tie bars. We may have a tie bar left, I think maybe just one. And we also sell a Mason's Lady heart decal for your car. My wife has one. They're pretty popular, and we've sold quite a few just locally from brothers' wives who have seen my wife's car. So consider that. We also have a great sponsorship from On It Labs. So if you click on Get On It, Alpha Brain, there's a link there under Support the Show. Through that, you'll be able to purchase any number of products from onit.com. All natural stuff, all really good for you. You can read all about that on their website. Go ahead and click through our links and use the promo code WCY at checkout. You'll get 10% off, which covers a little bit more than the shipping. The shipping is done through FedEx, so you'll make sure you get it on time. We also have a Thrive account. You can read about that later. Going on to let you know about, let's talk about that Masonic content that we are able to provide through these pin sales and from our donations. Aside from bringing you a weekly Masonic program, and we bring that to you in the highest quality available with all of your archived episodes always available, aside from putting that out on all of our social networks so that you don't have to sign up for anything new, we've also been able to bring you remastered Manly P. Hall lectures, which I have personally gone through and remastered those completely. We've eliminated white noise and everything else. So those are available to you totally for free. Just go on over to the wcypodcast.com, click on or hover over From Us to You, and click on Remastered Manly P. Hall Lectures. Other things that we've done as well. We have started the Masonic Curators YouTube series, which we are bringing you 3 times a week on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. The hope is for the future, if we get enough submissions, which I would love to get more, shoot me an email, let me know about your item, film a video, put it up through Google, and let's put it out there on the YouTube channel. Don't be shy, we're all brothers. It's a great way to reach out there and tell a little bit of a cool story about your items. That is a show that we are hoping to go Monday through Friday with at some point, and it's a lot of fun. So check that out. That's something we've brought. And the latest is this digital lodge listing. So we have, of course, most guys know about the list of lodges that comes from a publisher here in Illinois, which is the guide that your secretary has that shows all of the recognized lodges in the United States and around the world. It's a fantastic piece of literature, but unfortunately it's not available to everybody. I do understand there are apps out there for certain Grand Lodges. Like here in Illinois, we have a Masonic Connections app, which is pretty fantastic. And there's a new app out there called Amity. Amity is really great too. My only issue is I don't want to have to deal with logging in, downloading an app, creating an account, verifying. So why can't we just put the list of lodges out there for the public, just like if they were to go to the Grand Lodge website and you'd find the lodges there. Every Grand Lodge in the United States has a website, and every one of those websites has a lodge finder. It's public knowledge. Why do we have to put it in any kind of other form? So I created the digital lodge listing for the United States of America. It's a beta. All it is an Excel-based database. You go to the website, wcypodcast.com, click on the link for Digital Lodge Listing USA. This is a beta version of an Excel-based lodge finder. All lodges listed are pulled directly from the respective Grand Lodge websites, which was at the end of 2017. Simply click on the state abbreviation to begin sorting. There are a handful of states that are not in the tool just yet. I'll be updating this periodically. If a state is in the tool, then all lodges within that state should be in this tool. But if not, then we need that. So I just want to say that if there's no lodge listing for your state, it's because the Grand Lodge of that state has not provided a listing on their website, which was easily put into Excel. Yes, Grand Lodge of Wisconsin is not in this tool. Neither is New Jersey or a couple others. And it's not because those lodges aren't listed on the Grand Lodge website. They are, and I can access that. What I haven't been able to do is be able to pull that information from the website and easily put it into Excel without copy pasting 700 times. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to type all this stuff in. So what I'm looking for is an already typed document, which has to exist because that's how they put it on the website. So if you have access to any of that information or are willing to share, please do so. If we do have to resort to manually typing and all that, then so be it. It's just going to take a few months, maybe even a year before we get it totally updated. So we're kind of crowdsourcing this, but it's another one of those extras that we're able to provide. You don't have to sign up for an app. You don't have to have the book. It's just right here. And this is USA only. You can filter by Prince Hall. You can filter by regular. You can filter by Amity in relation to do they have recognition. You can filter by lodge name. You can filter by lodge number, the city that it's in, Grand Lodge. You even have the Grand Lodge websites. And if the lodge has a website that's provided that I have found, that's also in there. So check it out. If the website doesn't load great on your phone, it should be fine on an iPhone. But if it doesn't load that well on your Android or your tablet or something, shoot me a message. Let me know how it looks. Take a screenshot if you want, because like I said, we are developing this. But just something else that we're able to develop because of the funds that all come in for this show. So thanks again to everybody out there who's helped out with this. Really appreciate it. My presentation schedule is coming quickly, filling up for 2018. February 22nd is the first. I'll be Skyping into Meridian Lodge number 2 on speaking on colonial masonry. February 23rd, I will be at an education symposium in Libertyville Lodge number 492. And I should also mention I will probably be at Libertyville Lodge 492 on January 30th as well, possibly presenting. I'm not quite sure yet. March 16th, I'll be at the Shekomenko 458 in New York. March 21st, Liberty Lodge, I'll be doing a Skype presentation. April 12th, 13th, and 14th, I'll be in Ohio, kind of a mini tour. I'll be at Willoughby Chapter 231, and then on the 13th, I'll be at Triandria doing colonial masonry, and April 14th, I will be at Hope Lodge presenting on Esoterics 101. If I'm wrong on those dates, I will correct them on the page shortly. I believe those are the dates, however. On April 28th, this is huge, guys. Masonicon 2018 is around the corner. It's confirmed. I know I will be there. I know Frater O will be there, and I know Alex Powers will be there. So if you needed any other reason to come, I'm not sure if you do, but just hearing Alex Powers talk about history and getting to talk to Frater O and things, those are worth it to me. But I will tell you that the list of speakers that I have seen is fantastic. The programming is wonderful. So be ready for that. April 28th, Ezekiel Bates, Masonicon 2018. It's going to be amazing. May 11th, Szechuan number 4. I'll be doing a Skype presentation for them out in Taipei. May 19th, Kentucky, details coming. June 7th, I'll be out in Honesdale, Pennsylvania, I believe. Still shoring up some details there. And then another huge event this year, Toledo, Ohio, Camp Masonry. Guys, this was another huge one. I'm going back to Ohio a second time this year to do Camp Masonry. I have heard so much amazing stuff about Camp Masonry, and I'm really excited to go. I'll be presenting on a couple topics, and we're really looking forward to it. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for details relating to that. And I think the last thing I've got booked this year is September 5th. I'll be at Lafayette Lodge in Indiana doing a presentation on esoterics. So if I'm in your neck of the woods, come out and see me. I'll have pins and we can talk, and I just love to share some fellowship with everybody out there. So thanks again. All right. The next thing I wanted to hit up was this great article by Stephen L. Harrison, 33rd Degree, called X-Rated Freemasonry. That's right, X-Rated Freemasonry, but here's the catch. It's Freemasonry. You know we're not going to talk about anything like that. So your kids being in the room, no big deal. I will preface this by telling you that this is a bit of an excerpt from Brother Harrison's book, Freemasons, Tales from the Craft, which is available on Amazon.com. X-Rated Freemasonry. Freemasons, those never-kiss-and-tell pillars of society, always adhere to the values of ethics and high morals, observing the promise of their obligations. Well, almost always. There have been instances where society, depending upon the social mores of the day, may have judged brethren harshly for, quote-unquote, crossing the line. Some of those occasions, by today's standards, may seem as tame as a sleeping kitten, while others might raise a few eyebrows of the most iniquitous among us. Read on and judge for yourself. American Gothic. Brother Grant Wood, 1892 to 1942, of Mount Hermon Lodge, number 263, Cedar Rapids, painted the acclaimed American Gothic. Released in 1930, the painting shocked many when Wood said it was a portrait of a married couple. The scene depicts an elderly man holding a pitchfork standing next to a much younger woman. The age differences caused the scandal, so Wood eventually said that the woman represented the man's daughter. He would in fact change that story and say that she was his wife, depending on how he perceived the audience would react. For too many. Brother Tom Mix, a member of Utopia Lodge, number 537 of Los Angeles, was one of the earliest film's superstars. In an era where moviegoers were unaccustomed to some of the antics of Hollywood actors, they were shocked at what one might call his practice of serial monogamy. Mix had 5 wives, at a time when that number was considered just about 4 too many. Bare facts. After visiting the Soviet Union, Brother Will Rogers wrote a book entitled There's Not a Bathing Suit in Russia, and Other Bare Facts. Suggestive by the standards of the day, the publisher declined to put the second part of the title on the book's cover. Stephen Austin's nemesis. Anthony Butler, 1787 to 1849, was a lawyer, a politician, a diplomat, the ward and friend of Brother Andrew Jackson, and yes, a Freemason. Jackson appointed Butler his secret agent in a surreptitious plan to purchase Texas for the United States. Upon arriving in Texas, Butler crossed swords with Brother Stephen F. Austin, who was establishing colonies there. While there, Butler became interested in and began courting the daughter of a prominent Mexican family. Austin was a friend of the family. Upon hearing what Butler was up to, he exposed him as a man who had already had a wife and 3 children back home in the U.S., thwarting a plan to purchase Texas and fueling a lifetime of animosity between the 2 Masonic brothers. The bestseller Charles P. Chick, sale 1885 to 1936. Urbana Lodge, 157, Illinois, was an actor and humorist in vaudeville and a character actor in movies. He never achieved a great amount of fame, however, until he became an author and published, quote-unquote, The Specialist. The book sold 200,000 copies in 3 months and went on to be a million seller. Its subject? Outhouses. Considered risque for its time, the book was nearly banned, but Brother Sale chose his words just carefully enough to avoid having it censored. If you want to read the rest of this article, I urge you to go on over to themidnightfreemasons.com and check it out. It is a great article, and if you like what you see in the article, head on over to Amazon.com and grab a copy of this book. It's available on Kindle as well. That's it for this week. I just would like to thank everybody out there for listening and following along as we went through some huge news updates and the like. Before we go out, I just wanted to take just a quick second to remind everybody of the Celebrating the Craft event happening on Saturday, May 19th, 2018, 6:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. So mark your calendars. There's going to be a great showing. CTC is an evening of entertainment and learning that showcases Freemasonry, the Scottish Rite, and the talents and accomplishments of brothers throughout the Southern jurisdiction. CTC STC features performances by Scottish Rite Brothers and interviews with family and clinicians from our Right Care Scottish Rite Childhood Language programs, and they also do video chats with the Valley celebrating around the nation. What is the purpose? Well, they are trying to restore the House of the Temple along with raising money for the Scottish Rite charities. So, as we get closer to this event, I'll certainly be posting more. I'll hope to live tweet the event as we go along with some commentary and probably has some relevant banter back and forth between myself and some of the other podcasters. It's always a great time, and I hope you guys tune in and donate to the Celebrating the Craft event. You can find more on the Supreme Council's website. Go to scottishrite.org/development/giving/celebrate, and you'll see a little bit about this event. So check that out. That's it for this week. Again, please check out the Midnight Freemasons and the Masonic Roundtable going live at 10/9 Central on Tuesday nights. Midnight Freemasons has articles every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And of course, Masonic Curators, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. So lots of content out there. Hope you're all checking it out. Maybe you check it out on the website. Maybe you're an RSS guy. Maybe you listen to just the podcast. Maybe you just listen to the YouTube channel. Or maybe you have it on your Amazon Echo as an enabled skill. That's right, Midnight Freemasons is there too. We are working to bring you this show and others through the Echo experience as well. We just have to write those skills, but we do have to take care of some legal first in regards to that stuff. So I'm working on that. Always busy. So thanks again for listening. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please go ahead and email me at admin@wcypodcast.com. And that's it. So until next week, stay on the level. For Whence Came You, I'm Robert Johnson.
You've been listening to Whence Came You, a Masonic podcast featuring research papers and discussions related to Freemasonry with your host, Brother Robert Johnson. Be sure to join us for our next edition.